Many of us are drawn to exploring abandoned places. These empty, decaying structures once held life, but now stand frozen in time, full of mystery and intrigue. Something about their silent halls and derelict rooms compels urban explorers, photographers, and thrill-seekers to step inside, looking for adventure or that perfect shot. Though they may appear empty and innocuous at first glance, abandoned buildings can hold unseen dangers and supernatural occurrences for the intrepid visitor. The allure is undeniable. An abandoned house, hospital, school, or amusement park represents a captivating puzzle for those bold enough to venture within. What stories do these crumbling walls hold? What relics remain of past occupants and their lives? What clues are embedded in the peeling paint, dusty furniture, and outdated architecture? Our curiosity pushes us to enter the unknown and unravel the secrets of these forgotten places. Yet within these silent halls lurk hazards, both physical and psychological. Exploring abandoned buildings is inherently risky, as unstable structures and hazardous materials abound. Even more frightening are the chilling stories of ghostly voices, fleeting shadows, and unexplained phenomena reported by those who have delved into these gloomy ruins after dark. This article will recount firsthand encounters with the unsettling horrors and mysteries of abandoned places from those who have experienced them. Ranging from nerve-wracking close calls to terrifying brushes with the paranormal, these stories will make you think twice before approaching that lonely, boarded-up house at the end of the street. The accounts that follow serve as cautionary tales, revealing the shocking perils that can await the curious within abandoned buildings. While explorers often assume an abandoned place will be empty, that's not always the case. In some shocking stories, urban explorers have stumbled upon squatters and vagrants still inhabiting the buildings. In one hair-raising tale, a group of friends broke into an abandoned asylum to look around. As they entered a hallway full of patient rooms, they suddenly heard voices coming from one of the rooms. Approaching cautiously, they realized there were homeless people living inside the decaying asylum. The explorers quickly fled, afraid of confronting the current residents. Another explorer recalls finding beds, clothes, food, and other signs of life while sneaking through a condemned apartment complex. As he turned a corner, he came face to face with an angry squatter defending his temporary home. This wasn't a supernatural encounter, but it was just as terrifying. Sometimes explorers will even find evidence that they're not the first ones to visit an abandoned site. Graffiti, litter, sleeping bags, and fires indicate that other urban adventurers or homeless populations are using the area. This can create unsafe conditions, from hostile squatters to unstable structures. While explorers are drawn to the mystery and thrill of abandoned locations, they may not expect to find themselves intruding into someone's current shelter. These stories serve as unsettling reminders that one should never assume an abandoned building is uninhabited. Even emptiness can be deceptive. Urban exploration can be thrilling, but abandoned places often contain hidden hazards that can pose real physical threats. Explorers need to be vigilant and prepared. Some of the unexpected dangers include collapsed floors. Many abandoned buildings have areas where floors or stairways are unstable and at risk of collapse. Even floors that look solid can give way under the weight of a person. Falls through collapsed floors have seriously injured and even killed some urban explorers. It's important to carefully test all floors before walking on them. Avoid going to upper levels of deteriorated buildings. Exposed wires old. Damaged electrical wiring exists in many abandoned sites. Live wires can be uncovered that still have flowing electricity. Coming into contact with live wires can result in electrocution. Wires should always be treated as live. Avoid touching any exposed wires. Mold, the damp, neglected conditions of many abandoned buildings lead to extensive mold growth. Inhaling airborne mold spores can cause allergic reactions and breathing issues. Mold also releases mycotoxins, which can have toxic effects. Wearing an appropriate face mask can help protect against mold. Asbestos insulation and building materials were once commonly used. When inhaled, asbestos fibers can cause lung diseases like mesothelioma. Asbestos is often found crumbling in abandoned sites. Disturbing it causes fibers to become airborne. Avoid asbestos materials and wear an approved respirator. Urban explorers need to educate themselves on the potential hazards and take precautions. Having proper protective gear, knowledge of building construction, and a partner or group can help mitigate the unexpected dangers. However, the risks can never be fully eliminated in abandoned environments. Ghostly encounters. Many urban explorers recount unsettling paranormal experiences while investigating abandoned buildings. Strange noises, objects seemingly moving on their own, and ghostly apparitions are commonly reported. When noises echo through empty hallways or banging sounds come from behind closed doors, it's easy to imagine a ghostly presence. Footsteps, disembodied voices, and unexplained whispers can make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. Even experienced explorers can get spooked. Sometimes explorers return to a room they just checked to find objects moved. An open door that was previously closed, or a chair pulled away from the wall when it was against it before are disconcerting discoveries. They make you question if an invisible entity is lingering in the building and toying with you. Full-body apparitions are rare, but numerous urban explorers swear they've glimpsed spectral figures at the edge of their vision. Sightings of ghostly shadows, unexplained mists, and ethereal lights are also reported. These encounters lend an otherworldly atmosphere to decrepit and abandoned structures. While some write off paranormal accounts as overactive imaginations, many urban explorers consider them an intrinsic part of venturing into forgotten places and chilling reminders that we are not always alone. Sinister discoveries. Urban exploration often leads to unsettling and disturbing finds. Many abandoned buildings and structures hold secrets and evidence of sinister histories and activities. Explorers have discovered hidden rooms and basements used for unknown purposes. Strange writings cover the walls. Makeshift altars and occult objects litter the floors. What were these places used for, and why were they abandoned so suddenly? The discoveries raise more questions than answers. Some of the more chilling finds include an abandoned asylum with patient records and lobotomy tools still remaining, an underground bunker with chains mounted to the walls and a dried blood-like substance on the floor, a deserted mansion with a locked basement filled with creepy dolls and children's clothing, tunnels underneath a burned-down manor leading to a stone chamber with a pentagram etched into the ground, animal bones arranged in a ritualistic circle in the basement of a condemned church. These unnerving discoveries often make urban explorers question if they should turn back. But curiosity drives them forward, deeper into the darkness. The urge to uncover more of these hidden sinister secrets outweighs their unease. Still, one can't help but feel they may be uncovering something that should have remained buried and forgotten. Urban exploration can lead to close calls with collapse, entrapment, and attacks. While the thrill is part of the appeal, it's important to stay aware of your surroundings and exit a location at the first signs of danger. Even experienced urban explorers have found themselves in harrowing situations that required quick thinking and reflexes to escape unharmed. One story tells of a group venturing into an abandoned factory with a partially collapsed floor. As they walked carefully along a raised metal walkway, the structure beneath them began to groan and give way. One member made it across safely, but the other two were stranded in the middle as the walkway started to buckle. Grabbing pipes along the ceiling, they were just able to swing themselves to solid ground as the walkway crashed down behind them into the void below. Other explorers have described close calls while squeezing through tight passages and ventilation shafts. In one case, a narrow gap that initially allowed passage suddenly narrowed midway as the tunnel shifted. Stuck in an awkward position and unable to move forward or back, it took over an hour of struggle before the trapped explorer was finally able to painstakingly work free. Caution and vigilance are essential, as many abandoned sites can house hostile inhabitants. One group was chased out by an angry homeless man who had claimed the site as his territory. As they fled towards the exit, he hurled debris after them until they managed to escape safely to their vehicle. Had they lingered, an altercation could have easily turned violent and caused serious harm. With danger always a possibility, urban explorers must keep their wits and avoid complacency. One lapse in awareness or careless misstep could mean disaster. While the lure of abandoned places feels irresistible for some, the risks and perils are very real. With careful planning, vigilance, and quick thinking, veteran urban explorers know how to get their thrills while minimizing the chance of a narrow and potentially deadly escape. Exploring abandoned places can sometimes lead to dangerous confrontations with people or animals who have taken up residence in the abandoned structures. While many explorers hope to avoid running into squatters or gangs who may be using the spaces illegally, sometimes confrontations are unavoidable. One explorer recounts finding a group of squatters living in an abandoned factory. At first, the squatters were open to conversation, but then became aggressive and threatening when asked to leave the private property. The situation quickly escalated to violence before the explorer was able to retreat to safety. He warns others to be cautious when confronting illegal occupants. Wild animals like raccoons, bats, and even bears are also hazards in some abandoned buildings, especially in rural areas. One group of friends entered an abandoned farmhouse only to be chased out by an angry raccoon defending its nest. Another explorer disturbed a hibernating bear while venturing into the basement of an abandoned ski resort. She was lucky to escape unharmed from the startled and aggressive bear. While most confrontations can be avoided by being alert and retreating at the first sign of trouble, sometimes explorers are caught off guard. Traveling in groups, making noise before entering abandoned spaces, and bringing pepper spray or other protection can help reduce the risk of being the victim of an actual attack. Still, caution and common sense are the best defenses against the potential dangers of abandoned places. Lessons learned. Exploring abandoned places can be thrilling, but there are important lessons to be learned from those who have had harrowing experiences. Safety should always come first when embarking on urban explorations. Take precautions. Do your research beforehand to know what you may encounter. Inform someone of where you are going and when you plan to return. Bring supplies like flashlights, protective gear, and first aid kits in case of an emergency. Don't go alone. Having a partner or group with you provides backup if anything goes wrong. You can look out for each other's safety and get help if needed. Solo exploring leaves you vulnerable. Know your limits. Be honest with yourself about your abilities. Don't take unnecessary risks trying to access unstable structures or hazardous areas. Recognize when you are stressed or frightened, and turn back rather than push beyond your comfort zone. While abandoned sites offer an adventurous discovery, they can pose unseen perils. Heeding safety advice from veteran urban explorers can prevent you from ending up in a horror story of your own. With caution and common sense, your exploration can be a rewarding experience rather than a cautionary tale.